Hello, hello, everybody. I hope you are all well. I realized I was talking into a dead microphone for about a couple minutes there. It felt like. I'm not feeling the most energetic today, so I decided I was going to stream some old Sonic games and maybe take a look at the idea of speedrunning one of them. Go through it again and see if words. I thought about speedrunning Sonic CD, specifically the updated version of it, but I wanted to check out the Origins Collection version of it, see how much different it is. Almost ready to swap over. There we go. Let's see if this picks it up in one go. Yes, we did. There we go. So recently I got all the achievements on this, which was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. I thought that there'd be like something that'd be a pain in the ass to get to, but no, it was actually pretty easy. Let's start off with Sonic 1. Let me know if the audio balance is off in any way. I've been watching a couple people actually try to get the world record in the any percent of this category. For this game, sorry. And it's been very interesting to see because Sonic 1 natively doesn't have like any of the it doesn't have like this drop dash or your spin dash or anything like that. It's just momentum based platforming. So it's a lot more of a pure experience. Also, I don't think I mentioned it, but hello Eris, how are you today? Sorry about that. I hope you are well. And does the Origins Collection do the drop dash? It does. I don't know how competitive the Origins Collection is, or at least the Origins Collection version of these games. But it might be fun to run this, just because it is the newest version of these games. Yes, this is an official Sega release. This is the easiest way to get any of the classic Sonic games right now on Steam. Because the original version of, or the 2011 version of Sonic CD is no longer available for purchase. Which was the version that I was planning on running. I mean, it's not like I can't run it still, but it's more exciting to, I don't know, it's more interesting to me to be able to run a game that people could theoretically play. At least breathe some life into a category, a speedrun category. I'm gonna be eternally forgetting that I have access to the drop dash and the spin dash. Now, I'm not planning on getting all the Chaos Emeralds, but if they're there, I'll go for them. I usually don't go for the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 1 because they're a lot more frustrating. I don't like this this minigame compared to Sonic 2's or even Sonic 3's. But I don't think there's many people who are out there that are like adamant that Sonic 1's Chaos Emerald Special Zone hunt is the best. There we go. And it's usually the third emerald is one of the more difficult ones for me to get. I mean, Sonic 4's was also pretty obnoxious, but it was more so the same sort of deal. Except you were controlling the maze more than anything else. I wonder how much the dash, all the drop dash and the speed and the spin dash actually affect the speedrun route for this. Because the drop dash does add quite a bit. Barely got hit by the spikes there. I mean, even just adding widescreen does affect things. Oh, you can't hit him beforehand! That's actually a change for this version. He's just invincible until he gets the ball out. I don't know if this collection is actually considered to be all that good. I know it got review bombed for a while because they put Amy behind like DLC or something. I don't know how accurate this collection is compared to some of the other versions of it. I know it had to be patched a few times. But as far as I know, it's just running off of the retro engine, which Christian Whitehead made specifically for mobile. Whoa! Okay. I wasn't expecting that. Well, I think the idea was that, as at least specifically for Amy, that she was just kind of expensive. And she should have been there from, like, the very beginning, but I don't know. I mean, I'm all for Amy being in the game because she's a character that has long since been kind of abandoned by Sega, at least for Classic. She's gotten a resurgence recently. Yeah, she's the only DLC character. She's the only DLC for this collection, actually. Like, for a long time, like, it's like, oh, it's classic Sonic, and Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. And it's like, yeah, but what about Amy? Amy's been there since CD. Like, she, like it or not, she's a classic character. And they just kind of ignored her for whatever reason. And they didn't use her too much even back then. Fucked up that jump. Cream is an interesting character as far as Sonic Advance 2 goes. Because they put a rabbit in the game, and then they proceeded to make her the baddest bitch in the entire series. Like, Cream destroys any boss fight in that game had. Just bends it over her knee and breaks it. Because she just, the way that her attack works is that like, the way that she works in general is you have the ability of Tails' flight with, like, Sonic's speed, and on top of that, your basic attack is to send Cheese out, who's like a nuclear bomb, forward and just hits things. So you have a ranged attack to go with it. It's like, Jesus. I don't think anybody would really argue with me that, at the very least, she's the most OP character in that game. I think, even too, speaking of just Amy, she was an unlockable character in that once you got, like, 100% save file. And she just plays like she does in, Advance 1. Advance 1, Amy plays very differently because you don't have access to, like, a curling into a ball. For whatever reason, they decided against that. So she definitely plays very differently. But I know some people who... I've heard of some people who enjoy her gameplay more than the basic Sonic gameplay. I don't know why I'd go for that. Yeah, that sounds about accurate to the way that Cream plays in Advance 2. Yeah, the hammer attack gives you a nice like little bit of range. I jumped right into that fireball. In this collection, Amy works more or less the same as Sonic, but with extra range. She even has her own version of, like, the drop dash, where she just kind of, like, smacks her hammer down and runs and dashes forward. Advance 3 had, like, the combo characters, which was interesting. And there was always, like, different things like that, but or, like, combinations and different special moves you could get by picking different pairings of characters. But I don't know, I never really gelled with Advance 3 when I played it. That might be a fun thing to try and go back to at some point. Oop, fucked up the special stage. Is to actually play some of the Advance games. Because I haven't played Advance 1 in years, and I haven't played Advance 2 in even longer. The only problem with some of the Advance games is trying to get the Chaos Emeralds. For any of them past, like, 1, really. 1 had, like, the best way to get them. At least the best method to get into the special stages. Because I think past 1, you actually had to get all the Chaos Emeralds with all the characters in order to unlock the special, like, final ending. So I might just do, like, an any % sort of run of those games. There's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald. Oh, did you do the thing that I used to do, where if you were playing a game, you'd put like another game, the game that you were just finished playing, inside of it, like another game's case, just so that you weren't leaving CDs out? I had another friend like that, but he never eventually like solved the problem of, oh, where is this game? Oh, it's in this other game's case. I would eventually, like, solve the issue, but still. Oh, even better. You had a caseless game. Oh, shit. Gotta do a little bit of ring juggling. Was Network Transmission the one that was a platformer? That, like, sucked rear, or was it a different one? It was like a Mega Man Battle Network that was trying to be like a classic Mega Man game, but wasn't very good at it. Yeah, I heard that one was really bad. Like, it took forever for, like, the Z-Bus, oh, I'm going the wrong way, I'm a doofus. It took a long time for just the Mega Buster to be worth a damn, and you had to upgrade the shit out of it in order for it to be worth anything, and it wasn't... there was just a lot of problems with that game. Like, I remember hearing that it was, like, very difficult for, like, no good reason. Like, enemies were very spongy. Yeah, thought I could make that. It is very interesting to watch some of the speedrunners play this game, because speedrunners will generally piano roll the jump buttons, because A, B, and C all jump. And they do that so that it prevents the game from eating an input, because the idea is that you press the jump button 3 times every jump, one of those jump buttons is going to register. Oh man, yeah, you know it's bad when a bargain bin price is still on the damn thing. It's like when you go into a non-video game store and like there's a bargain bin that just happens to have video games, and you see like a bunch of just like random video games, like movie tie-in games, or like other like random licensed shovelware games, and then there's just something from a brand you recognize there. You just know it's going to be like the bad one. Man, I'm playing like butt now. So, fun fact that I recall, uh, Labyrinth Zone was originally supposed to be the second zone. I believe it was Labyrinth anyway. And Marble was supposed to be in its place. But they swapped the two, figuring that Labyrinth was too much of a difficulty jump. And even in the game's files, Labyrinth and Marble are swapped. So if you do something like, oh shit, I was one ring off from getting the big ring at the end. Oh well. So if you do like the level select glitch, not glitch, but code, you'll see the original level order. I still think it's very strange that originally Yuji Naka and a bunch of other like original Sonic Team members were originally going to leave Sega after Sonic 1, and Sega was originally going to just say, "All right, fuck them. We don't need another game from this franchise anyway." It was only Sega of America that was like, "No, we need more Sonic. Like this is a hit over here. We need this." And they ended up hiring Yuji Naka and a bunch of the members that were going to leave. And I don't know what they were planning on doing, either looking employment somewhere else. Either way, they were reportedly unhappy with their pay and a few other things about working at Sega. And yes, Sega of America hired them back on, flew them over to America to work on Sonic 2. And while they were working on Sonic 2, a Japanese crew was actually working on Sonic CD, but they never got that finished in time. Like, they started around the same time that Sonic 2 was being worked on, but they ended up coming out between Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 and Sonic 3. Oh yeah, I mean, Sonic was like one of the platformers back then. But, I mean, here's the thing, right, is Sega has never, or Sonic in general, has never done too well outside of, or inside of Japan. Sonic has always just been more of a worldwide brand than anything else. Like, Sonic did really well in Europe, Sonic does well in North America, but not so much in Japan. And I feel like Sega has always resented that fact. The funny part is when they tried to make a game that appeals to the North American audience, it always ends up backfiring. Like, one of the things was Shadow the Hedgehog came about because they used to get like little fan letters from like kids saying like wanting Sonic to use a gun. And they were like, but Sonic would never use a gun, but Shadow. So they let Shadow use a gun in Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow was also originally supposed to die and stay dead after Sonic Adventure 1, but because of critical reception from him being so popular, they managed to keep him around, which is why his story got so weird after Sonic Adventure. I went the wrong way. They've given him, like, gun-adjacent powers. Like, he can shoot his, like, Chaos Spears or whatever. But they've never full-on given him a gun again since, Shadow. Okay, I want to get that invincibility, so let's just... Okay, that should have worked. Okay, that time I fucked it up. There we go. I actually, from the looks of things, it seems like this version gets rid of the speed cap. Because, there was actually a built-in speed cap for how fast Sonic could run in Sonic 1, on the original version of it. There was also, like, a spike glitch, so if you were, even if you were in an invulnerable, like, state, Sonic would still die from spikes. Ooh, that was lucky. Now I'm completely out of sync with the platforms above. There we go. Oh yeah, these walls are new for this version. That makes it closer to the original, like, aspect ratio. Some of these bosses are kind of broken with widescreen. Oh, sometime I should also play the really, really cursed official version of this game. So, for those that don't know, there is a port of Sonic 1 to the Game Boy Advance, and it was a very, very late port. And one of the reasons why it's so cursed is because it uses a much more advanced engine on very lacking hardware. Like, it uses the Rush engine on an aging Game Boy Advance. So there is slowdown galore in that version, and it fucks with the physics incredibly hard. And on top of that, they could not get a decent sound out of... They couldn't get decent sound out of the damn Game Boy to save their life. It's okay, I'm taking the lower path. Like, the Game Boy Advance versions of, like, this track, for example, is just awful. Oh, yeah, I'm just kind of surprised that Sega never did, like, a Sonic Maker or something like that, but... I don't know. I'd like to see them try and make an RPG again, akin to, like, Paper Mario or whatever. Because they had, BioWare make one, but because of, a certain Ken Penders, it got basically cease and desisted by him because somehow he managed to prove in a court of law that he owns the rights to, like, every echidna that isn't Knuckles. And while Sonic Chronicles wasn't good, a sequel could have made it a lot better. And the game ends on, like, sequel bait, too. It was a very bare-bones, like, kind of RPG. Which is very unusual because, I mean, you had veterans of the RPG world, BioWare, make the game, and it was just kind of a mediocre RPG. I will be right back. I just need to use the bathroom. Well, I need to pause first. Once I can pause, I'll go to the bathroom. Okay. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So I've recently made a Blue Sky account. Oh wait, why is my game? There we go. I've recently made a Blue Sky account. I've been trying to... I've posted a bunch of my renders on that. And that's gotten a little bit more traction than none at all. But the hard part for me is going to be actually using the damn thing. Because I'm just not... I'm the kind of person that, like, never takes pictures. Because I never just think to do that. I'd rather just be in the moment and accept and recognize the moment for what it is. Not really cataloging it or anything like that. I don't know, maybe it's just a me problem. So the idea of just like, oh yeah, I got like a 4 a.m. thought, or a random thought on something. I should make a tweet about this or something like that. It's very foreign and very different for me to try and accept and to do. But I recognize that it's also just going to be something that I just need to get into the habit of doing if I want to do more streaming stuff. Not really, no. I don't really recognize when I'm having a 4 a.m. thought. I just kind of sit there and go and just have a random thought and go, no, that's just stupid. That's kind of it. And move on. barely remember that I even had the thought to begin with. Really? That was kind of a shitty thing. But I guess that just sort of goes to show that Sonic 1 wasn't really designed with the spin dash in mind. Damn, we were so close to the end. Running out of chances to get Chaos Emeralds. But as I said, I'm not gonna sweat it. Not for today. Maybe if I was doing like a online like Let's Play or something like that, I would be a lot more concerned about trying to make a more thorough Let's Playing of the game. Oh shit, I missed the thing. Right into the Asteron. Well, almost at the boss fight now. Fortunately, no rings, but I know there is a shield up on the left up here. Okay. Not sure why I died there. Because I can jump on these guys just fine. Fortunately, this version doesn't have any lives to worry about, but I think I'd be safe on lives for a little while, because you do have some continues. Oh cool, I even beat the water. Oh, let's get that coin. Might as well, I don't have 999 yet. Even though the coins are kind of pointless at this point for me. Since I've gotten everything in the museum. And, already basically 100% in the game. Well, I didn't 100% it because I didn't do all the missions, but, you know, you get my point. I got all the achievements. Can I not go this way? It's not. There we go. It's interesting too with when it comes to Sonic that we didn't get a um, 35th anniversary game. There wasn't a lot this anniversary, and usually Sega's pretty good with like every 5 years doing something a little bit bigger, a little bit more extra. But this year was oddly silent. I mean, I'm kind of glad because I'd rather them... Anytime they've historically rushed out a Sonic game to meet an anniversary, it's always gone terribly. Like, look at Sonic 06, that was an anniversary title. Just as an example. I mean, the terrible Sonic 1 port that I was mentioning earlier, that was another... I thought I could just walk right underneath that guy, but I guess not. Well, alright, let's just try this whole thing again. Well, it's a different team that works on Yakuza as compared to Sonic. Sonic has like a dedicated Sonic team. But I imagine there's some crossover between other departments. But I don't know. I don't know enough about Japanese culture or the development, the inner politics of Sega. I've heard that a lot of them are pretty terrible. Sega is the kind of company that doesn't know, like, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing kind of thing. And at least historically speaking. Well, this is gonna lead to my death, isn't it? No, it didn't. On the Like a Dragon engine. Interesting. That sounds like a terrible idea, yeah. I don't... Unless they are going to try and do an RPG. But I don't know. I've never played any of the... The only Yakuza game I ever played was Yakuza 0. And I enjoyed my time with Yakuza 0. It was a fun game. I don't know why I like stopped dead in my tracks there. Let's do this and build up a little bit of speed. There we go. Yeah, just the look and... I don't know, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, because an engine can mean a lot of different things and can be altered and edited in a myriad of different ways to create different effects. I mean, look at just like the RE engine and the Ghouls and Ghosts game that they released on it. Just as a quick example. Now, I don't know if it'll work in this version, but what I'm trying to do is there is a 1-frame effect that you can do with these seesaws. You can actually jump when it's at its like peak. I think I'm just gonna kill the boss normally. Shit. Doing a bit of ring juggling here. In the Game Boy Advance version of this, because of the screen crunch to try and fit onto a Game Boy screen, it's actually so small that you can just jump normally and just hit Eggman. I don't remember if 06 was on Unreal or not. I know that with Unleashed, they were planning on making an engine that they could license out to people, and they called it the Hedgehog engine. And they did a lot of great work with that. Like, Unleashed is still one of the prettier looking Sonic games out there. They also did a lot of great work with the CGI in that game. Now, the rest of the game... Look, I didn't mind... The day stages were fine. They were a little bit difficult. Like, they had some difficulty spikes. But overall, it wasn't too bad. The nighttime stages... I didn't care for a Devil May Hedgehog. I'll put it that way. I was more like God of Hedgehog than a Devil May Cry. But still, it was not very fun. At some point I will play that game for this channel because there is the Unleashed recompiled. Because they took all the weird complaints that with Unleashed, they took all the weird complaints that game critics had for Sonic at that point, which was like, oh, we want to play as Sonic, we don't want to play as Sonic's shitty friends. And I'm like, dude, did you ever like this series to begin with? Sonic's shitty friends were exactly why exactly the reason why people love this series so much. Every single game since the classic games introduced a new random Sonic character that you could play as that played a little bit differently than Sonic. That's the part that matters, is plays like Sonic but adds a different gimmick to it, or a different way of navigating. Whereas they just took it to, oh, people just don't like Sonic's friends anymore. It's like, no, that's not the case. One of those missing the forest for the trees kind of situations. Letting the Mania team go is one of the biggest mistakes I think Sega has done in recent years. Like, somebody should have been trying to push the bureaucracy a lot harder than they did to try and keep the Mania team around and make a Mania 2. Mania was like the Sonic game that everybody loved. Critics loved it, Sonic fans loved it, everybody fucking loved that game. And they just, rather than make a Mania 2 with all original zones, they just went, alright, bye Mania team. That team went off to make their own game. They made a 3D platformer. I haven't played it yet. It was called Penny's Big Breakaway, I believe. I don't know, I don't know much about it. It didn't look super interesting to me, but I don't know. I'd probably have to play it at some point. Oh, you actually own Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania is like one of those like easy recommends if you liked the original Sonic games for me. I don't know if they ever removed it, but I know originally if on the Steam release it had Denuvo in it. Thankfully, Sega has gotten a lot better about not using Denuvo. I think because when they did, there was a mass campaign against them using Denuvo and basically writing into Sega to say, like, hey, give your head a shake, we don't want this garbage in our games. But I could be wrong. And they still use it. I don't know, I'm kind of a simp for this franchise, so... I'm likely to play just about any Sonic game at least once. Oh, Denuvo got removed, okay. Yeah, I bought it on release. And then bitched about Denuvo directly to Sega. I sent them an email. Oh, I thought I was close enough. Oops. Fuck. Yeah, I'd say so too. Like, adapting it to Yakuza seems very strange to me, but I don't know enough about the guts of the engine to really say whether or not it could do more fast-paced platforming like Sonic. Like, it could just be they made a, like, the Yakuza team was tasked with making a very versatile engine. Personally, I'm just excited to see where they go next. Because after Shadow Generations, they kind of prove that they can still do the boost formula really well. And the them and with the what was it? Sonic not Lost World. Oh crap, I cannot remember the name of it. But the last Sonic game that came out before that, before Shadow Generations, the open world one. I'm curious to see if they decide to go down the boost formula again, or if they do open zone again. As long as they keep pushing the story forward, I don't mind whatever they do, and they just, like... With Ian Flynn running a lot of the story stuff, I'd have no... Like, I feel like Sonic's in good hands with Ian Flynn. Frontiers, thank you. I could not remember the name of that to save my life. Well, we got all the canonical emeralds. We didn't get the 7th Chaos Emerald, but that one doesn't exist in this game. Because there were only 6 in the original Sonic game. It was only Sonic 2 that introduced the 7th one and introduced Super. There is a 7th Emerald in this version, and you can get Supersonic in this version, but that's non-canon. I mean, the other thing too that I'm really excited to see about what they do with is, I want to see what they do with Sage from Frontiers. Because they did kind of show at the end of Frontiers that she was still alive, right? Yeah, Sage does seem like she was more popular than Sega thought. I believe they did mention that at one point too, that she was more popular than they were expecting her to be. Oh yeah, we also get these little ending sequences. I guess we'll play Sonic CD next. We gotta go to the settings. All right, now here's the vote. Oh no, it's such a spin dash. Does this version not let you pick between different soundtrack? Oh, there we go, soundtrack. All right, here's the question. Do we want the Japanese soundtrack or the US soundtrack? Which 3D Sonic game? Like the Sonic 3D Blast on like Genesis? Because that game is rough. I do not like isometric platforming. I never beat that game. Oh, the Sonic Robo Blast 2. Yeah, I did beat that game. Okay, we'll do Japanese soundtrack for today. I know a lot of people prefer the Japanese soundtrack to the American soundtrack, but honestly, I like both. So, as far as I'm concerned, we got two good soundtracks. Alright, who do we want to play as today? Um, let's play Sonic, that way we get the animated intro. With Toot Toot Sonic Warrior. Fun fact, this was actually made by Toei Animation. I really miss traditional animation like this. Just that fast and loose kind of animation is just fantastic to me. Like, I don't know if you remember the stream where I showed off the Sonic OVA or not, but I loved that animation. Shit, fast enough to get over that. I'm still sad that that OVA was originally supposed to be a pitch for a television series that just fell through because Sonic isn't popular in Japan. So what I like, one of the things I do like about this game is that there are kind of two ways to get the good ending. I'm not really going out of my way for the good ending, but you can either go to the past and destroy the the roboticizer in the past, or you can collect all the time stones. One of the things that makes Sonic CD in particular very unique is the fact that all the levels are very vertically oriented. I'd also say that CD is probably one of the easier Sonic games to really play, just in general. So, like, if somebody had never played a classic Sonic game before in their life, I'd recommend Sonic CD as just like a jumping on point. The modern versions of CD. I wouldn't recommend playing the original version of it just because the original version is an old CD-based console, so load times are a bit rough. And the way that spin dash and the super peel out work is a little bit strange. I want to go up there. There we go. Super Peel Out is kind of a strange move in general because it just seems like it's a... Well, what's the point, right? I guess you get like a faster top speed with it, but... I don't know, it just seems like it's a... Why would I use this over the Spin Dash when the Spin Dash leaves me less vulnerable? Also, I do like the fact that all the levels in this have alliteration to them. So like Collision Chaos, Palm Tree Panic, Quartz Quadrant, Tidal Tempest. I'm not saying these in any particular order, I'm just as they come to mind. Wacky Workbench. And I don't remember the name of the last zone. But you get my point. I'm a big fan of alliteration. The Super Peel Out is this. Is just running in place until you get like a burst of speed. It's basically functionally the same as the Spin Dash, just worse. Which is why it's never been the kind of thing that I'm like, oh man, the Super Peel Out isn't in this game? Fuck. Okay, you wanna... Oh wait, can you... this version? Aw, damn, I didn't get quite enough speed. Yeah, it makes sense. They wanted to show off the like infinity like looking feet, the whirly feet, which I do really like in this. Also, it's very interesting that they used the Sonic 1 sprite rather than the updated Sonic 2 sprite, but I guess at the time frame that these people were working on this, it makes sense. Okay, here we go, the pinball fight. This is either the quickest fight in the game, or one of the longest. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. There we go. Also, this is like the most like hunched over, deformed looking Eggman of the classic ones. Yeah, no, I don't remember how to do this speedrun. Learning this speedrun this game is going to take some effort to try and remember how to do. Because with this, you actually, like, go up and over most of the level. I still think this game was like one of the only reasons to really own a Sega Genesis or a Sega CD at the time. Like I can't think of any other like must-have titles on the CD. There definitely weren't many. Like, outside of just the novelty of having video on a CD. Like, you can play such great games like Sewer Shark. Oh yeah, what idea is that? Is there anything here? Okay, this is just a quick way to get to the past. I actually have one of the Neptunia games on my wish list. Because I believe you've recommended them in the past. I don't know how I hit that enemy right there, but I'm just gonna not question it and move on with my life. So I ran directly into him, like, face first. Hey, we do get to show off a special stage at some point in this playthrough. Now you can already see why I don't particularly like these special stages. Because this, while I'm sure was very novel at the time, and very, like, awe-inducing, because it's like, oh wow, it's like Sonic but in 3D. Now I'm like, ugh, it's not easy to gauge your depth. There we go, I at least got one. Really, even in Mania, Mania's special stages are still probably my favorite special stages. Like, they managed to supplant Blue Spheres from Sonic 3. Oh, this port even adds the drop dash. I've probably already mentioned that, but I just forgot about it until now. One thing that I find really funny about this is, let's see if I can get the quick kill on him. You stand right about here. Nope. Didn't get the quick kill. Like, one of the things that I find really funny about this game is, like, all of the boss fights are really easy if you have any skill with ring juggling. There we go. Oh, wow. Really? Why? I wonder why they picked the Saturn and the Game Gear. I don't know. I guess the Saturn I know did better in Japan than it did anywhere else. But I don't know about the Game Gear. I know there were some decent Sonic games on it. Like the 8-bit versions of Sonic 1, 2, and 3 are actually pretty decent. You had a Sega Game Gear? I've known one other person in my life who had one, and it blew my mind seeing it when I was a kid. Like, it was around a crowd of people were all gathered around this one kid who had it. And we were watching him play because it was just so cool to see a backlit screen and full color on a handheld. Never mind the fact that the thing ate batteries for breakfast. Oh man, I know the Lion King game on Genesis was really rough. Can't imagine what it was like on Game Gear. Like, that game was really, really hard. Yeah, I know that feeling. Like, I've had some games that I have in my collection that I'm like, I don't remember anything about this other than I played it. And I remember it being mediocre. That's like the best thing I can say about some of the games that I've played. Like some of those games. Like, I have a copy of the original Chronicles of Narnia on the original Xbox, and that game was all right, but I remember it being like an okay, like, top-down kind of beat-em-up style game. But compared to my other Xbox games at the time, Fable and not Skies of Arcadia, Crimson Skies. It just didn't really copy my attention, or take my attention. That is amazing. You have a copy of Sonic on the Genesis that the Queen of England signed. I wonder how many copies of Sonic she's signed in her lifetime. Why did you, like, take a copy of Sonic specifically for the Queen to sign? Or was it just like this is just what I have on hand kind of thing, and I want the Queen to sign something? Good old wacky workbench. The fuck stage. Because every time you hit the floor, you go, fuck. No, I didn't mean to do that. Fuck. Fuck. I will be right back. I need to use the bathroom again. I've returned. I wonder if her signature makes that game a lot more valuable. Especially now that, you know, she's gone. Oh shit. Going to the future. Because I know, at least over here, it was kind of a pretty big deal when the queen passed. Still is. It's weird seeing the king on our money. I've had a couple of recent bills, and they put the king on the money, and it's very strange. Strange to me. Yeah, I mean, of course. I'd be upset if they tried to take my game away from me. But I guess they must have thought that you were gonna lose it or something. One thing that I don't understand about is how there are so many copies of Sega games without the box. Like, it's not like they were cheap cardboard Nintendo boxes. They were... Like, Genesis had, like, hard plastic boxes. Like, they just didn't seem like the kind of thing that you want to throw out. Try and get this. Nope. Oh well. Oh hey, I forgot about this version, allowing you to retry these. Exactly, it had a very thick plastic to it, so it just seemed like the kind of thing that you didn't want to throw out, but like, I don't know. I'm still upset that I had a copy of a Link to the Past in the box with all of its original stuff, and eventually that got stolen from me. Oh yeah. Yeah, Genesis did have amazing quality, like, boxes. I have boxed copies of Sonic 1, 2, and I have a boxed copy of Earthworm Jim for the Genesis. I've still never beaten Earthworm Jim yet. I've gotten to the last stage a few times, but fuck man, that game is difficult. Fuck. Maybe I should try and do it with save states or something sometime. Be a fun stream project. You know, I've never actually played Lemmings, but I know it was fucking everywhere in the 90s. I know how it works, and I've seen gameplay footage of it, but I've just never played it myself. One of those, like, surprisingly popular puzzle games. Okay, I wasn't sure if the six-pack was those games, all those games or not. I couldn't remember all the games that it had on it, but I have heard of that. There was also, like, I don't know, Sega has done a lot of those, like, mashup packs over the years. Like, they had one on the Dreamcast that was a bunch of classic, like, Genesis games. They had like a bunch of Genesis collections. Like, there was one for Sonic that was Sonic 1, 2, and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. I really like the Japanese boss music better. I'll say that for this game, for the Japanese soundtrack. I think it's a lot better than the American one. I don't know, it's just really fun to hear work that sucker to death. Come on now, work that sucker to death. Oh, Streets of Rage has amazing music. I used to play that with one of my friends. And like half the time I'd be grooving out to the music more than playing. There was a video that I saw not that long ago. This kind of shows how weird and nerdy I am. There was a video I was watching about somebody who was trying to find all of the samples that they used in Sonic CD and find their source. And the guy didn't catalog all of them, but he found a good number of them. His goal was to just try and show a sampling of the more interesting ones. Oh yeah, for sure. Like the guy who, I'd be surprised if any of them even still remember like what sample CD they got what from. Sonic fans are fucking crazy, though, when it comes to this series. But I guess that's what happens when you get a series that has a very eccentric fan base, let's say, for lack of a better word. Oh yeah, I mean, that's true for any kind of creator. You're going to forget, like, oh, did I make this? Like, you're not gonna keep a record catalog of everything you make. Like, I'm sure there's some videos that you forget you've made. Or some details about videos that you've just forgotten about. Shit. Keep hitting the same damn spring. The same spring. Much like there's like shit tons of art that if I were to go through some of my back catalog, I'd forget about completely and be like, oh fuck, I made this? He's gonna catch up to me real soon. Especially if I keep hitting him in pits like this. Yeah, there he goes! Metal Sonic is still probably my favorite rival for Sonic. But I also really like the nature versus, like, mechanical nature of classic Sonic games. I don't know, it's just a theme that I really enjoy. Actually did that boss fight pretty quick, all things considered. I think the problem with Metal is that they never really utilize them to his fullest. Metallic Madness, that was the name of the zone. Fuck. I dipped right through every platform. Man, I'm out of water. I'm just about out of water. So I was struggling to figure out what I wanted to get myself for my birthday, because my birthday's coming up. And, actually, it's, this Wednesday. And I eventually settled on getting myself the Linus Tech Tips water bottle and screwdriver, because the curiosity just kind of got the best of me. The water bottle's actually pretty good. I've been using it for a couple of days now, and it manages to keep my water cold even for like past 8 hours. Because I filled up my water bottle and like gone to bed, and it was still cold the next day. And I used the screwdriver and it seems alright. Like, it's a screwdriver, alright. A bit expensive, but... I'm hoping that with a fancy water bottle like this, though, I'll drink more water instead of going for pop all the time. And so far it seems to be doing its job. Because pop is getting pretty fucking expensive now. And plus it's probably not good for weight reduction, which I'm trying to do. Because I've got a bit of a belly that I want to get rid of. Oh yeah, speaking of which, my ab roller came in yesterday that I ordered last fucking month. And, boy are my sides tired. Come on, get up there. Yeah, that section kind of sucks. I didn't use it enough to really get to Laughing Pain yet, but I feel it like, I went the wrong way. I feel it a lot in my glutes and my shoulders and the sides, like the, I think it's the obliques sides of, like, your abs. Right beside your abs, those muscles. I just used it a little bit, and I got that, so... So it seems like I'm using it correctly, at the very least. That's always the concern with any kind of exercise equipment, is that you're using it correctly and having good form. At some point I'll use it a lot more and probably end up with Laughing Pain. This is the only bottomless pit in the whole game, actually. And I am about to die to it. There we go, see? Didn't mean to die to it, but fuck. There we go. Oh, that'd be a fun thing to do. If I had trackers like that, I think I'd want to try and do like a basic like a yoga routine or something like that and show off my basic yoga routine that I do. It's just a few quick stretches and whatnot. It probably only last about as long as a short does. Maybe a little longer. Just because I do like a full body stretch. And just like that, this boss is over and this game is done. Now let's get our cutscene and get out of here. Actually, while this plays, I'm gonna go refill my water. Okay, I'm back. Thank you, thank you. And we get the bad ending. Everything comes back. Because I didn't get all the time stones. Oh well. Maybe another playthrough. But we still get this cutscene. And now for Sonic 2. Do I want to get all the emeralds or not? Let's play this one as Amy. I can showcase her moveset a little better. So, she does this thing where her hammer extends the range of her attacks. And then she has a little a better version of the drop dash. She can also spin dash, just like everybody else can. These stages got such an upgrade from the retro version, the retro engine version, because this is actually like a 3D thing rather than trying to do sprites. Like there's a lot more draw distance for the ring, so it's a lot easier to play than on the original Genesis version of these. Plus this collection allows you to retry them. You just need to get the rings in order and hit a goalpost in order to get in. Which is something that I kind of I like about them, rather than try to get to the end with a bunch of rings. I find it a little bit easier, but these special stages are also a little bit more difficult, I'd say, than some of the other ones. Like, I think the half-pipe is a little bit more difficult than for first-timers. $169 rings. Nice. And another carryover that this version did is that it allows you to... It respawns all the... It lets you keep your rings. Whereas originally on Sonic 2, you lost your rings after going into a special stage. All the rings would respawn in the level, but you'd lose them all. Unless you were playing the... with the Knuckles add-on. I think Sonic CD is probably my least played of the classic games. At least the main series classic games. Just because I didn't have it until the... It was the Gems collection on GameCube. Because I never had a Sega CD. I played a Sega CD back in the early 90s, but I never had one myself. My uncle had it, and but the only game he had for it was Sewer Shark. At least that's the only game I remember playing on it. Him letting me play on it. But he was the reason I got introduced to Sonic at a young age. Because as a kid, I had a Super Nintendo. I didn't have a Genesis. I had a Super Nintendo and I had Super Mario World, and that was like my only game for a long time. And then I think my second game, well, my second game is kind of tied because I got 2 games that year for my birthday. I got a used copy of Sonic and Knuckles that I could play on my stepbrother's Genesis, because I was obsessed with Sonic at the time. And I got Mario is Missing on for my Super Nintendo. You can tell which game I probably played a lot more as a kid who wasn't the most... Well, I was too small to really read, so the educational title was always going to be lost on me at the time. Damn, you waited all the way up until the Wii to get a Nintendo home console. What made you get the Wii over anything else? I could understand, like, some of them, like the N64 had, like, 5 games for it compared to the PlayStation. And I guess the GameCube was sort of similar. It was more of a party console than anything else. Ah, okay. I was big into Zelda, that was one of the reasons why I got Nintendo consoles. Yeah, because I believe you mentioned it before that you usually got Nintendo handhelds for road trips and stuff like that, because your family was a lot more on the road than like mine was. So I know it's technically possible to do, but you can get all 7 emeralds just in Emerald Hill Zone alone. I'm not patient enough to do that, but I am going to get a good chunk of them right away. Yeah, I don't know anybody who had the GBA Micro, because most people I know that had who had like a Game Boy Advance eventually got the SP just because their parents were just probably sick of buying fucking batteries for the damn thing. And we liked it because it had a backlit screen. The only downside to the SP was the fact that it didn't have a headphone jack. Whereas the original Game Boy Advance did. The only thing I remember about the Game Boy Micro, now that I think about it, is that I believe it had a rechargeable battery in it, and it was also backlit, but it had like replaceable face plates that you could buy. Those are the only things I remember about the Micro. I don't know if it had a headphone port or not. Oh, that was nice. Hey, your parents got you a DS at least. I'm surprised they broke your SP. Those things were fucking built with Nintendium or something. Mine went through the wash and it still turned out okay. It got like a single dead pixel and that was it. Which is, like, especially infuriating that, like, my SP survived so much damage, and then my fucking 3DS, I guess they ran out of Nintendium or something, because that thing fell out of my pocket while I was on to work once, and the whole top screen shattered. The top screen broke off, and the corner of the plastic just broke off, so it's just dead. However, my fucking DS, my DS Lite, works just fine. Your 3DS also broke? Man. I don't know what it was with them, but they were so much more fragile. I wonder if it was just because of the way that they were built. Like that 3D effect was just made the screens just so much more fragile or something, or it was just they cheaped out on plastic or something. Yeah, it'll probably still even have a charge on it knowing the fucking DS. Man, the DS was such a good console. Having that extra cartridge slot too so that you can play your Game Boy Advance games was pretty nice. If I recall correctly, it didn't have like full backwards compatibility to the original Game Boy like the Game Boy Advance did, but still, it was nice. I was actually considering getting a 3DS for my birthday, but those things are fucking expensive still. It's like 300 plus Canadian rubles for fucking like an ancient ass console. The DS isn't that expensive. Game Boys aren't that expensive. It's just the 3DS that is so bloody expensive. I guess a lot of people have had theirs break over the years or something like that. They're trying to find like replacements or something. I don't know what it is, but they're just really bloody expensive for like no reason. And that's across like all the models. It didn't matter if it was just a regular 3DS, a 2DS. Like the 2DS is probably the cheapest model, the regular one, but would like to get like a 2DS XL or a new 2DS XL. God, Nintendo's naming scheme sucked ass for that. Yeah, can I get a used new 3DS? What? Fucking garbage ass naming scheme. Nintendo's always been kind of crap with names, in my opinion. Like, their project names always sound better than the actual names. With PlayStation, it was a lot more utilitarian, but I still say Sega's naming schemes were the best. Like the Genesis / Mega Drive. Like, that's a fucking name with some chest hair. The Master System. The Sega Saturn. The Dreamcast. Like, those are some names. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Oh yeah, I mean, with Final Fantasy around, like, it's no wonder why you'd stick with PlayStation. Like, I don't think the Final Fantasy name carries as much weight as it did in the PlayStation 1 era. But fuck, man, I'm still gonna be kind of excited if they announce a new main numbered Final Fantasy game. Maybe not as much as I used to, because Square Enix's modern Square Enix. Let's just leave it at that. And they seem to be allergic to making a traditional JRPG. And yet every time when they do, it's incredibly successful, and they're all like fucking dumbfounded, like, how did this become so successful? I don't know, maybe it's because it's something you're fucking known for and you're good at. But no, let's just keep trying to make like shitty, like, character action games or something. I never played that one, actually. I know they have another 2D Final Fantasy game coming out. It's like Chronicles or something like that. I want to say is what it is, like Final Fantasy Chronicles or something like that. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it has that Octopath Traveler look to it, and I don't care for that look. Maybe that's just me, because I know a lot of people really like how these like HD 2D games look, is what Square Enix is calling it. But I don't like it. I feel like it's overblown on the effects, and the picture just looks awful. Like, I can't see the sprite work as nice. Resonance, okay, that's what it's called. I don't know, I just couldn't get excited for Octopath Traveler, even though I heard it's really good. I just didn't like its look. Oh yeah, I agree with that. Seeing all the previous characters in sprite form is pretty neat. And I mean, even in the fucking trailer, they showed off, Final Fantasy VIII and Final Fantasy IX characters. So, I'm interested, I just don't like its look. Oh, I didn't even realize I got all the Chaos Emeralds. I was like, what is this, the 5th one? Shows how much I've played this game. I can go super. I do like that, in the Sonic and Knuckles port of this, they gave Amy a hyper form, and she gets another ability where she can just whip hammers around. I'm just skipping this whole water section entirely. Okay, this... If I can get this fucking jump. There we go. Is it over here? Hold on. No, but I never knew that ring was there. It's a lot harder to do this with Super because you just accelerate so fast. Yeah, I agree. It's probably gonna look better in combat than out. Yeah, the sprite work did look really good in Resonance. See, do this. I didn't even go super once this time. One of the nice things about, especially Sonic 2, is because I played it so much, I can a lot more easily talk and play this game than I can like some other games that I never played before. I say that and immediately get hit. I'm gonna grab a bubble before I continue. The sound that scarred many a child's. It's like that one thing, where people were using AI to edit video, like, classic, like, 80s and 90s movies to edit out, like, the sad parts and whatnot, and I'm like, are you guys really that, like, fucking damaged that you can't handle, like, like, I know, like, there were some sad parts in some 80s and 90s movies, but, like, come on. The sad parts is what makes those movies so memorable, and so I don't know, it feels like you're ruining the original vision and the original point of that film. And I think trying to show those edited versions to your children is going to leave your, like, children need to be kind of scarred a little bit from, like, exposed to sad things like that at an early age so that they can more easily deal with tragedy that happens to them in, like, the meat space. You need your Artex from Neverending Story to die, so that because it teaches a valuable lesson. Like, how are any of these kids gonna deal with something like as simple as like a family pet dying or something? If they aren't exposed to at least a little bit of tragedy, even in like some of the media that they consume. Like, yeah, it's really fucking sad. Like, I don't know, I'm thinking like Charlie dying at the end of All Dogs Go to Heaven was really sad, but it needed to happen. Littlefoot's mom dying, like, that was one of the ones that always got me as a kid. It's funny that you mentioned Land of Before Time before I even saw that message. What was another one that I watched a lot that used to choke me up all the time as a kid? There was a bunch. Yeah, I do know about Ducky. Ducky had the same voice actress as what's her face? Anne-Marie from All Dogs Go to Heaven. It was the same voice actress. Yeah, that makes those films a little harder to go back and watch now. They're still great, like I love Don Bluth's films. Let's just hear the Supersonic theme for a little bit. The problem with... I really wish you could, like, in the settings, you could turn off the Supersonic theme for Sonic 2. Because I'd rather just listen to the actual themes. I guess I could just gamble until I lose. Take the next gambling machine. See if I get all Eggmans. So fun Sonic fact, I guess. Super Sonic's eyes are red because originally the first full-color image of Super Saiyan showed Goku's eyes as being red. And Sonic actually takes a surprising amount from Dragon Ball. Like, the files for, the in-game notes for, or not in-game notes, but the developer notes for, Silver the Hedgehog was like, think Trunks, had something to the effect of, think Trunks from Dragon Ball. When it came to his character. And I think Shadow was even, like, had Vegeta was referenced or something like that. And of course, you know, 7 Chaos Emerald, 7 Dragon Balls. I want to get up there so I can hit that spring. There we go. It actually took a long time before I could play this game reliably and get all the Chaos Emeralds. Like, I could barely even beat... I think I was... It wasn't until I was, like... I want to say, like, 15 or something that I could even beat this game. Because I would usually get up to... As a kid, the furthest I ever got up to was the final Eggman boss, the Death Egg Robot. And then I'd usually lose all my lives there because you just get no rings. And I think it wasn't until, like, I want to say, like, late teens, early 20s that I could reliably get all the Chaos Emeralds. It's not easy to do. Like, I've always seen getting all the Chaos Emeralds as a mark of skill, of, like, high skill for the Sonic games. And they kind of are designed to be like that. Like, you can only get into the special stages if you can, like, get enough rings and hold on to them for a certain... like, requirement, either whether that be end of the stage or checkpoints. Sonic 3 had it a little easier with just finding them, but still, a lot of them were a reward for having played the game multiple times. And that's always been kind of a mark for Sonic, is compared to, like, a Mario or another platformer of similar ilk, is just Sonic seems like it was always designed to be replayed over and over again, because you have the multiple routes, you have the Chaos Emeralds and there's strict requirements to get them, and I mean, even just down to the timer, right? The timer ticking up is similar to like a stopwatch. You're timing yourself for anything. So I feel like these games have kind of always been about just replayability. I mean, even the original Sonic, one of the developmental stories about it is the idea for Sonic came about because one of the creators was seeing how fast he could play through the first level of Super Mario Bros. 1 on the NES, and he was taking notes of his, like, times or something like that. I might be adding that last part, but he wanted to see how fast he could beat the first level at any rate. Whereas I feel like something more like a Mario is a lot more about the amount of stages that are in there and how many obstacle courses they've kind of made for you. Yeah, I'd say Crash Bandicoot is pretty replayable because it also has that, like, get the crystals and get the gems kind of thing, which incentivizes you to get to master the levels and be able to find everything. Yeah, levels that, especially with like Crash 1 and I don't remember about 2. There were always like gem paths and things like that. Crash 3 is just the one that I'm the most familiar with because that was the one that I owned as a kid. I didn't play through much of 2, and I didn't play a lot of, I didn't play any of 1. I think Crash 2 is probably the best Crash Bandicoot because it just has less gimmicks to it, but I don't mind any of the gimmicks in 3 except for the jet ski levels. Those kind of suck. I know the Insane Trilogy did Crash 2 pretty dirty, though. Just because of the changes to the character hitbox being more pill-shaped rather than like a cylinder. Really fucked up a lot of the jumps and the speedrun tech that people would use to get through that. Okay, I wasn't sure if they fucked with the edges of the pits or if they fucked with Crash's actual like model himself, like the physics for him or not. I thought they changed him to be a bit more rounded, and that's why he kept slipping off of things, because you can slip off of a lot of different surfaces a lot more easily in Crash 2 on the Insane Trilogy. I think Crash 3 probably got, and 1 got out of the Insane Trilogy like the best deal. Just because I feel like there was more room for Crash 1 to be improved, and Crash 3 had a lot less tighter jumps, I feel, than 2 did. True, Crash 1 does have a lot of bullshit levels. Yeah, that's probably the best way to play a lot of them, is to just emulate it. But I guess that's like one of the nice things about old games is a lot of the emulators for them are pretty fine, except for the Nintendo 60. Excuse me, the Nintendo 64. Emulators for that are still pretty. They're a lot better than they were, but they're not as close as like a PlayStation 1 emulator is compared to a PlayStation. Same with like Saturn. The Saturn is also kind of difficult to emulate because it's not as accurate. But the Saturn, I guess the Saturn and the N64 both had weird hardware. I'd be surprised if 3DS emulators are still not the greatest. I haven't checked in on them. But I know DS was pretty fine the last time I played. I still remember when they were first launching and they were pretty chunky. I don't know, it just feels weird to me that the N64 is still so weird to emulate. The hardware just must be really weird. Like, something about it is just strange that's causing difficulty in emulation. Because, I mean, now we're at the point where the one Ship of Harkinian team is working on a generic recompiler for all N64 games. So you can make just native ports. Which is nuts to me. That's easier than trying to make an emulator that is accurate for the N64. But I don't know enough about emulation to really say what's easy and what's not. Personally, I would be surprised if more N64 games started showing up on Steam after the Ship of Harkinian recompiler does work for more games. I mean, I'm just surprised that fucking Glover made it on Steam. Glover is a platformer on the N64 that kind of sucks rear. Oh yeah, of course Nintendo doesn't like it, but Nintendo can suck eggs, because there's nothing they can do about it. That's the reason why Ship of Harkinian is still around. Because there is nothing about it that is infringing on any of Nintendo's copyrights. Because you need to provide your own ROM, so none of Nintendo's assets are being used, none of Nintendo's code is being used. It's all generic C# code. So they have no legal leg to stand on when it comes to ship. That's why there's so many recompiled projects coming out. Partially because some people have gotten access to source code through leaks and thus are able to make a better decompiler as a result. But the other thing is just there's no legal repercussion that the owners can make as long as they're not using anything made by Nintendo or PlayStation or whoever else they're doing this for. Oh, N64 games coming to Steam. Yeah, I mean, that's just gonna come down to, like, each individual copyright holder, whoever owns the copyright, doing something like that. Like, I doubt Nintendo themselves is going to do an N64, like, port using Ship of Harkinian or something like that. Though it wouldn't be the first time Nintendo has used, like, a ROM site or something like that because I remember... I don't remember which game it was, but it was a main series, like, Nintendo game, and somebody, like, dumped the ROM from it from a virtual console, from the virtual console, and they found that it was, like, they got the ROM from a ROM site. This is gonna make these jumps a little bit more difficult. Oh, did it? I was going to ask about the Switch port of Kodar. Had a fan patch. That's amazing. There's been a few companies like that that have done that. They've just taken fan code and things like that. Nintendo's not the only one guilty of it, but still. It's just funnier when Nintendo, of all people, does it because they're so anal retentive when it comes to their copyright. And their IP, really. I'll be right back. I need to take care of something. Okay, I am back. Narrowly avoided disaster there. Almost hit main menu. Thanks for the welcome back. Right into that spike. God damn it. It's funny that a lot of these stages on the Genesis actually like wrapped around on themselves, like vertically speaking. So you can do a glitch in a lot of them called well, a wraparound glitch, where you can manipulate the camera and confuse the game as to Sonic's actual position, and then warp yourself to like the end goal. But I don't think these days the glitched category for Sonic is the most competitive anymore. I think most people have kind of moved on to just glitchless categories. A glitchless category to me is always going to be very sketchy with some of the more glitchier games. Just because, like, if you accidentally get it glitched, are you just kind of hosed and you have to reset? Like, Sonic 2 has some glitches in it that can happen. Or as the manual likes to call them, Dr. Robotnik's diabolical traps. To this day, one of my favorite things about favorite facts is still, from a Sonic manual, is still the manual for Sonic Heroes states that Eggman is a feminist. Oh, man. Well, despite being pretty tired and pretty drained today, I've still managed to get about a close to 3-hour stream out of the deal. And beat about 3 games. As we're coming up on the end of this, it's just this act, Sky Chase Zone, which is more or less just an auto-scroller, and then not Flying Battery, but Wing Fortress, and then it's the Death Egg. So we're pretty close to the end. I don't think so. But maybe? I'm trying to recall. I'm trying to block heroes from my memory. Heroes was such a bad game. I hate that game. I know so many Sonic fans are like, oh yeah, that game is better than Shadow. I'm like, no, I'd rather play Shadow any day than play Heroes. Heroes was such a slog. I know Eggman points a gun at Amy in Adventure. I don't think he backhands her. I know you could backhand Chao in that game as Eggman. Well, maybe not backhand, but you can slap him. Fucking this boss was super simple with Amy. I imagine that this, because of the way game development works, this fucking thing was probably a developer's afternoon. Just getting this like little, like tippy toes animation when you're close to an edge. So I believe, actually, you can just sit in the top left corner and pretty much auto-scroll the stage completely. The second time that you're on the plane in a Sonic game, and you can just cheese it by going to the top left. Oh, no, maybe not quite. I like this little preview for the next level that you get. You know, the chickens, you can kind of make a assumption that they might be okay, because chickens can like flap their wings around and kind of glide a little bit. However, so they might be able to make it. The turtles, no, those turtles are fucked when you release them from their capsule, from their bad nicks. guns to start popping out again. This is always one of the sections that makes my butthole clench. There we go. I'm just gonna brute force it. There we go. And fun fact that most people don't know, there is a life monitor there. In this version, it's a coin for the museum, but still. Damn, Amy's got some I got a hell of a grip in order to stay onto this rocket. Everybody always brings up the no air in space thing, but I mean, think about the grip you need for that. Yeah, let's see how many attempts it takes me to beat this final the Eggman robot. The Death Egg robot. Now he's gonna walk forward. I'm just gonna take this nice and slow. There we go. Hey, we did it in one attempt. Normally it takes me like a couple of attempts to beat that thing. Just because, yeah, as you said, the no rings is crazy. Yeah! Is that why she jumped off the plane? To avoid Tails peeking up her skirt? Yeah, really. It is kind of a bad trade. Fall to your death or just have somebody peek up your skirt. I think I'd rather somebody peek up my skirt. I mean, I'm also somebody who has a fear of heights, so I don't think I'd jump off a plane regardless. This was actually a restored ending from the original version. Originally, they didn't have that in the old version of the game, but it was originally planned for. And there we go. I think with that, it's been about 3 hours. I don't think I've got enough in me to do Sonic 3 and Knuckles because that game takes twice as long because it's 2 games with lock-on technology. So, I think with that said, we're going to call it here for today. I hope you all had fun. And I guess until next time, thanks for playing with me, everybody. And so long, take care, and goodbye.